Shalom. First, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Rakha Kodash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. I just want to go into a couple of precepts here. Okay, concerning the chariots, all right, which this world is used to calling UFOs. Okay, and as we approach the end, these chariots are showing themselves more and more. All right, we're getting more and more detailed, footage. Okay, we're seeing them moving, we're seeing them hovering, disappearing, reappearing, different shapes, different sizes, different lights around them. Okay, and people are going to start to ask and inquire more and more about these chariots as we approach the end. Okay, it's going to be evident that they are playing a factor in the end time prophecies. Okay, which according to the scriptures, the elect are going to be delivered out of this place by getting beamed up into those chariots, which it would look like an abduction to this world because they do not understand. Okay, but now you have more governments. All right, these world governments are bringing it out finally that these chariots are real and they are on the alert for them. Okay, and they're starting to try and paint that picture of demonization on the chariots. All right, as you had this one pilot who basically said with his encounter with a chariot that it was hostile and it basically committed an act of war. Because like we said, first they denied the chariots existed. Now they have no choice but to accept it because they're showing themselves more and more. But they're only bringing it out that they exist so they can demonize them and in their mind be justified in going to war, all right, with the chariots when they come back. Okay, but you got to understand that ultimately, regardless of what technology, what weaponry they have, they're not going to stand a chance against those chariots, man. Okay, and ultimately those chariots are for our deliverance. This is Luke chapter 21. All right, verse 28, it says, "And when these things begin to come to pass," all right, which when you go up a little bit, all right, it's going into the different prophecies that are going to be taking place. Now, actually, I'll start at verse 25. Luke 21 and 25, it says, "And there shall be signs in the sun, and in the moon, and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations, with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring," which these are all different signs that we are seeing in the earth, from earthquakes, all right, to I believe in Russia, you have a swarm, as they called it, an apocalyptic swarm of winged insects flying all over the place, all right, of biblical proportions. You notice how every time things out of the ordinary happen, they always refer to it as of biblical proportions, because they understand that, hey, the scriptures talk about this, man. It happened in history and is written to happen in prophecy. It says, verse 26, "Men's hearts failing them for fear." So people are going to be dying for fear, like the Egyptians were dying for fear when the Lord brought that, basically that night of torture upon them, as you read about in Wisdom of Solomon, the 17th chapter. So it says, "Men's hearts failing them for fear, and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth," because it's going to be, as the scriptures say, a time like never before. So the hell that's going to be breaking loose, the policies that are going to be put into place, all right, the different spiritual aspects that are going to be happening, the demons, the wild animals, the apparitions, all right, even on the right hand side, the angels, the chariots, it's going to get very supernatural, all right, out here in these streets, man. And a lot of people are not going to be able to handle that. So witnessing these things is going to be too much for them. Now it says, "For the powers of heaven shall be shaken, and then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory." And that cloud represents a so-called UFO. All right, now it says we're all really gonna see Yahushua come in with them chariots. All right, and when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh. So we're seeing these things happening. So what are we doing? We are lifting up our heads. All right, hey, physically, but also spiritually, man. Okay, we're being raised up and we understand now that we are closer to salvation than ever. All right, we literally feel the vibration of salvation, man. These prophecies we've been talking about are blatantly, all right, coming to pass before us. And that mark of the beast, man, when that chip comes out in a full way, it'll hit a lot of people by surprise, because it'll come out of nowhere. Boom. Damn, I thought I had a couple of months. I was distracted with all these other factors happening. And then boom, next thing you know, the mark of the beast is prevalent in society. Once you know that, once you see that, really just, that's it. Okay? That's it, man. And those chariots, which people don't understand what they are, but we know, all right, that is really the angels in there. And when the Lord comes back, he's coming back with them. But what are they going to do when they come back? Okay, they're gonna partake in destroying this place as well. They're gonna enter into the house of the thief. Now, who is the thief? The thief is Esau, Edom. Okay, and where's his main house? America. Because what did he do? He came and stole us. Literally, he stole us from wherever we were, predominantly in Africa, and kidnapped us and brought us here. And there's a law on that. If you steal a man and he be found in your possession, well, guess what? Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua is gonna find us in Esau's possession, and he's gonna cast judgment upon this devil, upon this place. So not only are they gonna be destroying, we can't forget that we mentioned the missiles, but you got to keep in mind that the chariots are also gonna be doing a very, very destructive job when it comes to this land. Okay, the fire from the chariots are gonna be very, very destructive, man. They're gonna be burning this place up as well as beaming up the elect. Okay, you're gonna see people going up in a beam of light into a chariot, man. And at first, people might be a little confused, but they'll start to see, all right, and start to wish that they get beamed up as well. Wisdom of Solomon, the 5th chapter, tells you that. They'll start to wish that they can get beamed up as well, because at first they're like, whoa, what's going on? And then they turn around and start to see the missiles coming. They see the fire from the chariots coming down. And it all clicks at once that if you don't get beamed up, you're gonna die. Okay, at that point, they start to hope and pray and cry. And hey, look, if you're of the elect and your sister is not, and she's with you in that time, man, if the Lord doesn't have mercy on, well, if she's not of the elect, then that's it. Okay, she gonna see you disappear, and that's it. And by the time you open your eyes, you're gonna be in a new body, standing in a chariot in the firmament or above the firmament, watching the destruction taking place on the planet Earth. But let's read this, Mark 13 and 27. And then shall he send his angels. Who is the he? It's Yahushua. Okay. And then shall he send his angels and shall gather together his elect from the four winds. So it doesn't matter where you are in the world, man. If you're of the elect, you will get delivered. All right. It says you're going to be gathered together. So the chariots are going to beam you up from the uttermost part of the earth to the uttermost part of heaven. Okay, so this is what's going to happen. So when we see those chariots, we're not dismayed at them, pursuant to Jeremiah 10 and 2. Be not dismayed, all right, at the signs of heaven, for the heathens are dismayed at them. Hey, the chariots are also a sign in the heavens. Okay, and we're not dismayed when we see them. But these heathens and 2/3 of our people, they get dismayed. They get scared because of the drama and not the drama, but the propaganda they've been fed, all right, through Esau's media and his government. Okay, but the chariots are actually on our side. Okay, now since I mentioned that, let's go to the book of 2 Kings. Okay, chapter 6, verse 16. Yeah, you're gonna find out, man, that this thing is hey, man, is real, but it's real spooky. Okay, it goes deeper than just reading verses out of the Bible, man. These are supernatural things that are actually gonna happen. It's hard to believe because we've been living in a world where we've been blinded from the spiritual aspect of it, that we thought that life was all about just the carnal realm. Nah, there's more to it, man. Okay, there's more to it. Yes, spiritual power does exist. Okay, the ability to be able to fly and control things with your mind, that is a form of spiritual power. It happened in the past and it will happen again. Okay, chariots, the angels, these are all real, man. But for so long we didn't know. We were blinded from it, that it seems surreal. It seems, made up. But it's always been there. This is how it's always been. and it's going to go back to that way. That the kingdom is going to be like a future ancient world. All right, like the ancient world, but in the future. Okay. So this is 2 Kings chapter 6 verse 16. And he answered, fear not, for they that be with us are more than they that be with them. And those chariots, one chariot could do hella damage, man. Okay, let alone all those thousands of chariots. The army of the hosts of heaven, okay, are way more than what's on the earth, man. So fear not with what Esau. He can come like a flood, but the kind of flood the Lord is going to bring, man, yo, you'd pity Esau if you could. Verse 17, and Elisha prayed and said, Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, I pray thee, open his eyes that he may see. Now, what does that mean? The servant was not blind physically, because if he was, why would he be scared upon seeing them being surrounded? Okay, he wasn't blind physically, but Elisha asked the Lord to open his spiritual eyes to where he can see the chariots. He can see into that spiritual realm. Okay, and that's what happened. It says that he may see, and the Lord opened the eyes of the young man, and he saw, and behold, the same way the Lord can open up your mind to understand these scriptures. Okay, the Lord can open up the mouth of an ass to speak. Guess what? He can open your eyes to see, all right, spiritual things. So it says, like John, the apostle John, when he saw that the Spirit, the Holy Spirit descending upon Yahushai, all right, like a dove, I believe he compared it to. So it says, and behold, it says, and he saw, and behold, the mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire round about Elisha. Okay, so those chariots, man, they're a form of energy. Okay, and they are very, very bright. Okay, now from there, let's go to Ezekiel. Okay, because Ezekiel, when you're reading it, he actually saw these chariots. Okay, he actually saw these chariots, and he wrote down the description of them. This is Ezekiel chapter 1 verse 16. You see, but see, you're not gonna learn this in the Christian church. These Christians that claim that the Most High is dealing with them and they're so deep, they won't teach you about the chariots because they don't even know it themselves. They're so busy focused on everything we're doing wrong, but they don't know what to do right. How can you tell somebody they're doing wrong when you don't even know what's right? All right, what do Yahushua say? You got to make sure you're good first before you check on somebody else. Verse 16, the appearance of the wheels and their work was like unto the color of a beryl, and they four had one likeness. Okay, now the chariots come in many different shapes, all right, forms. They can morph, they can grow, they can disappear, reappear. Okay, they can phase through things, they can go underwater, they can do anything because they're not limited to the laws of this world. Okay, all right, now it said where was I? Okay, continuing, it says, and their appearance and their work was as it were a wheel in the midst of a wheel. Let's look up the word work. Okay, and let's see. It says work, deeds, work, product, okay, work of God. Okay, so basically how they were structured. And it says was as it were a wheel in the midst of a wheel. So oftentimes the depiction of a chariot is circular, all right? It's like a wheel. You know, imagine looking at a steering wheel or any wheel, all right? And then looking at another wheel in the midst of it. Okay, and usually when they show you these scenes, the second wheel in the midst is where the if they were to lift somebody up into the chariot, that light comes from the inner wheel. Or if it was a laser beam that was coming, it will come from the inner wheel. Okay, and then you have the outer wheel where the lights are at. Okay, and in between the inner wheel and the outer wheel, all right, is where you have the space. All right, the actual, space of the chariot. So it says, verse 17, when they went upon their four sides, and they turned not when they went, because the chariots, the way they are, it's not like a car where if I want to make a turn, I have to make a left turn. I got to turn the wheels and then the whole body of the car shifts. The chariots don't need to move that way. The chariots do not need to turn before they move to the left, or stop and bust a right and then bust a U-turn. No, they can move. They can go forward, stop, move to the left, come back, stop. They don't have to turn a steering wheel to face the left before they move to the left. They can just shift to the left. Okay. So it says, it says, and they turned not when they went. As for their rings, they were so high that they were dreadful, and their rings were full of eyes round about them four. Okay, now these weren't literal eyes, but it represented the windows, all right, of the chariot. Because when you look at certain images of chariots, you see lights all around it on the outer ring, or the outer wheel. Okay, when you look at a ring is like a outer circle, and then it has an inner circle. So when you look at the outer ring or the outer circle, or for the chariot, that's where you see the lights coming forth out of the windows that makes it so bright. Okay. It says, and when the living creatures went, the wheels went with them. Okay, so the chariots, they move based on the spirit. All right, they're not, I forgot my chariot keys, so my chariot is locked, and nah. So like it says, when they went, all right, or Slakia, where am I at? Verse 19, and when the living creatures went, which were the angels, the wheels went by them. And when the living creatures were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up. Whithersoever the spirit was to go, they went. So the chariots don't have a steering wheel in it. They move based off the spirit, okay, of the angel. So that's why they're able to move so freely. Because the same way you can think of movement and you can think freely, if the chariot moves based on how your spirit is commanding it to go, then you can perform certain maneuvers. See, that when we drive regular cars, we think of how we're going to maneuver. Then we transition that into our hands. And then we turn the steering wheel or step on the gas. But if we avoided that, and whatever we thought was how the car moved, we would be able to move much smoother. So the chariots are like that. It's not let me bust a left turn and hold up. This guy's in the way. Beep the horn on him. Like there's space traffic or something. Okay. It says, verse 20, whithersoever the spirit was to go, they went. You see, thither was their spirit to go, and the wheels were lifted up over against them, for the spirit of the living creature was in the wheels. Okay, so that's how the and imagine that, man. Imagine that, like, we're gonna have that in the kingdom. Okay, our vehicles, all right, are gonna be those chariots, man. That's gonna be a beautiful thing. All right, imagine being in a chariot, being able to fly a chariot. Man, that's gonna be something to look forward to. Okay, so it's verse 21. When those went, these went, and when those stood, these stood, and when those were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up over against them, for the spirit of the living creature was in the wheels. And the likeness of the firmament upon the heads of the living creature was as the color of the terrible crystal stretched forth above over the heads above. Okay, and the chariots are able to park, all right, in the air. Okay, they look, at the end of the day, they're made up of a spiritual level of technology that we don't even understand. Okay, and here it is. Esau thinks that he has something for the chariots, man. Come on, man. How stupid can you be? Okay, now I'm gonna finish it off here. This is the book of where we at? 1 Thessalonians, okay, chapter 4, verse 15. It says, "For this we say unto you by the word of the Lord, that we which are alive and remain unto the coming of the Lord shall not prevent them which are asleep." Because pursuant to the book of Revelation and other precepts, you will have certain men, okay, that are going to be martyrs, okay, because they didn't, they stood firm and kept the faith of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, and they might be beheaded for that, or they might have to lose their life for that, okay. But as Paul is saying here, okay, that we which are alive, because Yahushai did tell his disciples 2,000 years ago that speaking spiritually to them that in the reincarnation, there be some of them standing here which shall not taste of death. So those prophets and those disciples being back here on the earth today, all right, are going to fulfill that. Some of them are not going to die. So not all of us are going to die, or not all of us are going to be martyrs. The majority of us are going to be alive and preserved to see the coming of Yahushua. So like it says, then we which are alive and remain unto the coming of the Lord shall not prevent them which are asleep, those that are dead. All right, but those that are dead in Yahushua, those that are dead that are part of the elect. For the Lord himself, because the elect that are dead are going to come back to life with Yahushua. But those that are not of the elect that are dead are going to come back through the reincarnation. Okay, so it says, for the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of the archangel, and with the trump of the Most High, and the dead in Yahushua shall rise first. Then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds. And that's the process of getting beamed up. Okay, and the clouds represent the chariots, to meet the Lord in the air, because that's where he's going to be, in his chariot. And so shall we ever be with the Lord. Wherefore comfort one another with these words. All right, and this is going to be the greatest salvation, the greatest deliverance, the greatest, form of an exodus that's ever going to be written, man. Okay, and it's going to be a very, very beautiful time, and we're getting ready to experience that time. Okay, we're getting ready to see that actually happening in our lifetime. Okay, not 5 years from now, not 10 years from now. Okay, but very, very, very soon, man. So, hey, with that in mind, man, we got to, keep pushing, stay in the spirit, and just, hey, as the scriptures say, give all diligence to make your calling and election sure. If you're not sure if you're of the elect or not, what are you sure of? You're sure that if you give all diligence, then you more than likely are. So what's the only thing you can do? What's your best bet? Give all diligence. Okay? So with that, I hope you were edified. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rcha Kodesh. Until next time, Shalom.